Hi everyone, hope you guys are good. Welcome to another episode of Ferotv. I'm Femi from Ferotv, and I've got two guests who I'm going to introduce you to. And on my right, we got
Preddie, OBE. Don't worry, I'll wait. Help me make it make sense. Today we're making it make sense.
and we also have
Min Kayla.
Love that. Yeah, she kept it nice and sweet. Yeah, kept it nice and sweet. Kayla. Min Kayla. I like that.
Chris.
How we doing?
Finally here.
Thank you for having me, man. Ferotv, man. Seriously, thank you.
Boy, I'm going in on you today, you know.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
How comes when we met, we just connected like brothers? What's going on?
I don't even know. And the worst thing about it, how we even connected was literally so strange because, like I said, we got there. It was a little bit of a madness of, where everybody was sitting and all the rest of it. And we just saw a list of names. When I said names. I mean, just so many names. I was like, well, where's my name? So all of us are trying to find the names and everything. No one couldn't find no names. You were standing there for time. I was like, do you know where you are? He's like, I'm still trying to find my name. We're all still trying to figure it out. I found my name. I said, all right, cool. I know where I am. I think I'm on table 6. Yeah, Chris Preddie. And Femi was just like, thank you so much. You helped me too. And I'm like, how did I help you? I just found my own name, but you need to find your own name. It was like, my name was underneath his. His name was underneath mine. And this was at the Man's Awards, the Power of Men Awards. And we was down there celebrating men that have been doing great things within not just their own community, but just generally in life and what they do and how they promote around black businesses, black entrepreneurs. And it was literally just fate. So we ended up finding that we were sitting next to each other, and then that was it. I just said, yeah, big man, don't go anywhere. Like when I even see you, make sure that we've got the table together, because like I come by myself as well. So I was just like, all right, cool. Like who? I know, because obviously when you network, you know people, but you don't really know no one. So it was so nice to even be humbly to be sitting next to you, man. And like you had the baddest suit on there, girl. Like, man, listen, like I looked at my suit a few times. That's a draw. Like he came in, not even the 3-piece, guys. You might as well call it the 5-piece. Man came in the 5-piece. Yeah, the 5-piece. Man had to the 5-piece. You get me? I said, cool. Who's this? But yeah, we just clicked from there. Sat down, spoke, and
You know what? Everyone can be hyped at an award show. And when I saw you, I thought, okay, he's just hyped because it's an award show. But that's your character.
it's my character. It's crazy, isn't it? Because that's literally me. So a lot of people see me online and everything, and like, there's no way in hell he's like that. It's just like, no. That is me. So 9 times out of 10, when you see me, that energy is always, for me anyway, I love being able to express myself. And one of the ways I express myself is through that energy. And I remember that energy when I was younger, used to be told as hyperactive. So I actually used to get in trouble for the way that I am. Can you imagine? And now that I'm older, everyone's just like, oh, we love your energy. I'm like, oh, what, that same hyperactive that I used to get detention for? I was there. They told I couldn't sit still and all the rest of it. I was misbehaving. But now that energy is it's just been able to channel and
Like, you're nice. Like, people must think, is that fake?
yeah,
You're proper nice.
I
Like,
love all the time.
the way you helped me, just sitting here and like you were just encouraging me. I'm looking at this guy thinking, wow, he's excited about today.
That is involved, ready to go. You're always there. Yeah, it was good, man. It was good. And I try to bring that anytime.
And you
anywhere.
were just nice to everyone. I was just watching you. You were nice when you got your award. You were nice to everyone. You're nice to people on the table. Like, who is Chris? Like, who are you? Like, where's this coming from?
I think a lot of the time my energy comes from, like I said, from when I was younger. I've always had, my mum always said to me, like, I had too much energy, if that even makes sense. So due to like everyone saying now, energy, hyperactive, whatever it was, I definitely had that energy where my mum was like, I wasn't even allowed to have Coke, like that, fizzy drinks and stuff like that. My mum was like, don't give me that. Like, he's bing, 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 bing. I would just be bouncing off all the walls and everything. So I had a lot of energy, but my mum was always like, you need to pull it into something. So once I started to realize my gifts, my talents, it just kind of ended up being shown and shined. But like you said, due to the energy that I give off to people, a lot of people say that. A lot of people's like, you're so nice to everyone, you're so open, you're so transparent. But I think that's because a lot of the times when I was growing up, I never felt that I was as transparent because of the fears that we had as young people, because we thought we couldn't share. So the more and more older that I got, the more and more I was like, you're much more of a man if you just actually let go, Chris, and actually accept it, and actually know that you went through trauma, actually know that you can cry as a man, actually know these kind of things. But when I was waking up, when I was younger, I was told that, growing up in a dominantly woman household, my dad wasn't around, so 2 sisters and a mum, it was perceived as men don't cry. Men's not allowed to cry. Men's got to be the man of the house. Men's got to be strong and be a protector. For so many years, I was holding this so much in, and I ended up suffering. When I left home at the age of 16 and didn't realize that I was suffering through depression. I was suffering through childhood trauma, and I didn't even know what that was. So when I'm plodding through my life and all the rest of it, I'm drinking, I'm smoking, I'm taking drugs, and I'm only seeing it in the sense of that's just normal. Because in our culture, in our community, I saw my uncles at barbecues, festivals, everyone's filling up, smoking weed, drinking alcohol. So I had to sit there one day and say, why do you like Hennessy? Because my family like Hennessy. Why do you like this? So I started realizing the trauma that I was understanding, and I was like, the one thing that I learned about every family, majority of families, we're always holding this secret on everybody's okay, I'm the perfect me. It's how we actually present ourselves sometimes on Instagram. Everyone's going, my life is lit. Your life is not lit. Your life is not lit. And last year, everyone got to see that my life wasn't lit. You get me? I hit rock bottom, and I was just like, we go through these times of depression. We go through these times of suffering in silence, but how much of us are really, really checking in?
I don't want you to get there yet. You're going. All right, go with it. You know what? Before, I want to say something about your character. I'm not sure how far you guys have got. People don't know we're in a book club, by the way. I'm not sure how far you guys have got in the book, but it relates like that godliness, that childlike way you don't care what people think, that free spirit, to being godly, to being pure. So when I was reading the book and it said that, it had me feeling some way like, yeah, for real, like, and you have that spirit within you, like, just free, like.
100%. And I think that's one of the hardest things for us to tap into, but one of the most beautiful things if you can tap into it. And once you tap into that pureness of, I love me for me, there's nothing that anyone could do or say that's going to throw me off cure. Because like you said, I'm so pure in the sense of me, my understanding. I understand, I accept myself as a person in the sense of my flaws and my imperfections to my perfections. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of us don't want to show our imperfections. And sometimes our imperfections ends up becoming the things that we actually grasp towards, the things that we actually love, the things that we actually walk towards. So when I was growing up, my dyslexia, being hyperactive, all of these at the time were seen as flaws. I was like, wow, man, I can't. Now it's turned into something that's now my powers. Just what I'm trying to say, because I'm now learning in a whole different way. So when someone's telling me, oh, I've read a book and I'm not great at the best at reading, but when it comes down to memorizing, I will smash this person out the water. They don't even know how to memorize the book. Me, I can memorize the book front to back, back to front, and be able to regurgitate the whole book. So once again, I started realizing, where's your powers lie? Where does your powers hold? And trying to make sure that whatever you do, you're always coming with pure intentions. And I always feel like helping others for me is always something that's been at my main fortes, in that kind of sense of what can I do and how can I help?
Chris, I have a question. The transition from you being a teenager or a young man, and then being from the background of not having a father or a male role model, sometimes that can backfire. It was a lot of, I would like to say, ethnic men, because I have noticed that as a therapist. And then the coping mechanism is such where it not only takes them down a path of addictions, but psychosis and mental health. So when you're walking between the line of your being your authentic self, managing your emotions and regulating them, we're seeing now what happens when a lot of men and women don't know how to regulate their emotions. So what advice or what insight can you give?
I think a lot of the time through a lot of us trying to regulate, it comes down to that key moment of being able to feel comfortable first and foremost to regulate to whoever it is, so whether it's your parents, whether it's a friend, whether it's a youth worker, whether it's a teacher. There's got to be someone that you feel like you can regulate to first and foremost. 9 times out of 10, we feel like we don't have that. So I didn't have that within my mum, didn't have that within my dad. So I found it very, very hard to regulate. So a lot of the times when I was growing up, 16, 17, 18, 19, I was acting out of aggression. I was acting out of anger. So a lot of the times I just really wanted to tell people like, I feel sad, you know, or I feel depressed, you know, or I feel anxious, or I'm anticipating something going wrong, which I don't know why, and because it actually hasn't happened yet, but I would reflect that in anger. Leave me alone. Don't no one talk to me. Shut up. You don't know my life. And it's just like, why are you acting like that? But no one actually allowed me to sit down to express that. And I think one of the ways that I even say to people now, if you don't have a lot of things to be able to express, music was a key moment for me. When I sat down and I was able to write, and even though I suffer with dyslexia and everything, it doesn't matter about your reading and writing, because you know what you're writing. You know when it says. So once I started writing things down, it became like therapy to me. It became something that I was now counseling myself, because sometimes when we have so much in our mind, just being able to pull it down on paper or sometimes say it out loud, it feels like you're letting it go. It feels like you're having that conversation with yourself. And it took me a long time to be able to say to myself, okay, this is what I've gone through. And I think a lot of people go through that because we're holding on to our past. We've gone through something, and it's okay to allow yourself to forgive yourself. So I had to say sorry to my young Chris. And I said, it's okay. I'm sorry that you went through that. You shouldn't have to go through that. But now you're an adult, that is no longer a trauma for you. That is no longer a path that you need to hold on to anymore, because you now are adult and you know that you have control over certain situations. But when you was young and as a child, unfortunately, you didn't. And that's okay.
So let's do the question I have now. What was that moment? Because for me, I had a moment, like I felt like I had an encounter with God, and it's something no one could ever explain to me. It's something that's in my heart. Like, it was like God saved me, and I felt it, and I decided that's the path I'm walking. Against all the odds, against everything that came against me, that's the path I'm walking. Did you have a specific thing? Was it university? What was it? Something made you turn directions?
I think, like I said, it was a youth worker. I was going off the roads for a long time. Like I said, got kicked out. My mum, when I was quite young, 16, so 16, 17, 18, I'm just on the streets. I'm just on the roads. And due to my dad and my family side, they were quite predominantly involved in criminal activity. So a lot of the time when I was growing up, I felt like I had to amount to something. I felt like I had to be what everyone was telling. Oh yeah, your cousins, they're killers, you know. Oh, your family, they're rockmen, you know. Oh, they go prison, you know. I'm like, I don't even want to go prison. Like, I don't even want to be in a part of this life. So how do I step away from these kind of understandings? So I was just going down a road which I felt like I had to. I was angry because I felt like I had to be, because that's how you roll and
Don't
that's how
they
you survive.
Don't they think you're funny? Like, you're moving funny now.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So that's what started to happen. So all my friends, family, everyone was just like, why is Chris moving like this? Why is Chris moving funny? Why is Chris don't want to continue doing what everyone says theirs? You know, but that's a lifestyle, that's who you are. And a youth worker came up to me, and unfortunately, like I said, I lost my brother 4 days after my 16th birthday. That was a turning point. So when that happened, and I started to realize that it's real, you know, like I say to people all the time online, we don't care until it comes knocking on your door. You know, sometimes you will look at something online and be like, oh, that's sad. Someone's been stabbed, someone's been killed. But when it happens in your family and it's real, and it's like, okay, this thing can happen. And I remember a youth worker said to me, would your brother want you to be doing this? And before he passed away, I was playing for Arsenal, I was playing football, man was piling up. But at the same time, I was going down a certain road of following their influence, following other cousins' influence, which he at the time didn't even know. So I felt like I was letting him down. So when my youth worker said that, he was like, would your brother want you to be doing this? I said, no. And like you said, it was like, whether it's the grace of God or whatever, that day, tears fall down my eyes. And I remember it like it was yesterday. And I just said to him, help me. I don't want to do this anymore. But I know what it is that I want to do, but I just don't know how to do it. And he decided to be like, okay, cool. We're going to take you to university. And he took me to university. I got my qualifications to go to university to do performing arts. And the worst thing about it, I didn't even know what performing arts was when I got there. I thought like I was just going to be doing some acting and all the rest of it. I got there at 9 o'clock. I see girls with leggings. One guy come out in a tutu. He was like, all right, let's go. I said, not today, not with me. What's going on, bud? Man's from the roads, bud. I'll punch man up. And the worst thing about it, when he was talking to me, he was just like, hey, whatever. And I was like, big man, if you carry on talking, me and you're going to have a fight. And the worst thing about it, he looks at me with so much disgust and he goes, you're not even my type. I got offended. You know what's there? The worst thing about I'm not even gay, but I got offended. I said, what do you mean I'm not your type? You better look at me one more time. You know what's there? You better check yourself before you wreck yourself. But what was nice about that was it started to allow me to realize that I was in a small world. And I want to say to a lot of young people out there, you're in a small world. So the fact that when we're growing up and we're looking at things like low body and you're looking at certain things of the way you dress and the way you act and you're saying wagwan, you're saying dunno, that's a small world. And I didn't realize that until I stepped into the real world. Do you know what I mean? And I started realizing that this is not.
But how do you feel like, isn't there, feel free to cut me. Yeah, you can cut me. Good, my door below. Don't you feel like everyone is looking at you and you're so different? Because I got that, like you're so different. You're moving against the grain. Is that painful? It's a painful thing to do. Because people start looking at you like you're funny. And they just so mature. You move a certain way. You act different. You are different. And people start looking at you like you think you're better than
100%. 100%. That's what it got to.
It's the most courageous thing when I see other people. I don't know if this is for you guys, but I, as a woman, coming from quite a strict background, coming from an ethnic minority background or majority background, the parents will make sure that that world stays small
100%.
in a form of protection. So as a woman, to move in her authentic energy, it was not encouraged.
It's not a no, yeah.
And it was not recognized. And then when, through music, and also losing my brother, and going down the mental health avenue, the addictions avenue, it's done behind closed doors. So for me, it wasn't an open plight. What that does is that creates this rich inner world where you only navigate through your own mind. And if you're quite introverted and you're seen as maybe an angry or insular woman,
100%.
when I'm supposed to be always smiling and catering to the world, I found that the music and my art really helped me to express myself in a healthy way where I didn't have to involve anyone else.
Yeah.
And then when I started meeting people who were in their authentic energy, it gave me permission to then move in mine. And so I've always remembered that. I don't know if that is for you, but when you turn up, bring your authentic self, what it does, it sparks someone else and it creates a safe space.
100%.
Which you didn't have, which
No.
I didn't have growing up.
A lot of us don't have that growing up, and I think it's nice that you guys are touching on it because we need to encourage that. And there were times when, you know, friends, family, like turned their back on me in that kind of sense of, raw, like you're moving different. Do you know what I mean? I remember when I started working for the charity Crime Stoppers just to help young people and everything, all the man them looked at me, you're a snitch now, you know what, it's there. But they were on road calling me a snitch. And I was just like, well, if I'm a snitch, you be the first person that I'm going to send to prison. So how are you calling me a snitch and you're not in prison? You're walking around calling me a snitch. But once again, it was that whole thing of you think I'm better than you and all the rest of it. Right. And that carried on to a point. It got even more worse when I got the OBE. There was just like, bro, what? Man got OBE.
So how did you get that?
The worst thing about it, I didn't even know what OBE was until I actually got one. The honest truth was, I thought I was going to prison. The way the letter came through my post, I suffer with dyslexia. I saw Her Majesty's name, a stamp, and it said, we have given your majesty your name in strict confidence, underline. Why you want to give the majesty my name in strict confidence? I don't want her to know my name. I'm going to jail. Do you know what's there? And then it said, we are appointing you to the order of the British Empire. I said, that's Illuminati. They've got me. You know what's there? They've got me. I've done something, they've got me. The worst thing about it, if they would have came to me and said, Chris, you committed a murder or a crime, I would have told them yes, because that's how scared I was. I was like, what happened? Why does these people want to know who I am and everything? And I remember calling my friend, he's like, Chris, you're such a joker, Google it. And I Googled it, and the first person that came up was David Beckham. It's even an OBE, and I was like, oh, but it's a what? Yeah, no, all right, cool, I'll take that. And then basically I received my OBE for all the work that I do within the community, helping young people. So once again, I didn't even know what it was. I didn't even know someone put me up for it. But it just goes to show everybody is someone is always watching. You don't know who you're talking to. You don't know who you're sitting next to. So I always say to these kids, be careful in the way that you treat others. It could be on the bus, it could be on the train, but that person could be the next person that's going to be your interviewer. That could be the next person that could be your investor. That could be the next person that could be your business partner. So once again, like you said from the start, look at the way you greet people, look at the way you are, you're so nice. Because I don't ever know who that person can potentially be in years to come, sort of kind of thing. So that was always kind of something that I kept on to.
Question I got for you: How did everyone receive it that you actually went and took it? Because I know there's a lot of politics. Some people be like, I'm gonna reject it. I'm gonna
Listen.
How did they reject you?
The worst thing about it, which is such a shame, is a lot of people came for me. Like literally a lot of people from the ethnic, Black, Caribbean, as you know, was that our community. A lot of people came for me, British colony and, you know, the empire, and don't you know about slavery, and don't you know about, you know, that the colonized. And I'm like, no, I know. If not, I know, I probably know more than you. You know what's there? I know my history. But what you guys don't understand, and what I'm trying to reflect on it, is I was received an award for helping the same community that you're telling me that I should not be accepting it for. Do you understand what I'm trying to say in this sense? So they're looking like, you shouldn't accept that award because of all the stuff that they've done due to slavery, Black people and all the rest of it. But then I'm looking at it like, well, they're giving it to me for all the hard work that I'm doing. So they are showing the accolades, they are showing that, you know, we are seen as equals to a point. And at the same time, why should I not receive something that someone is telling me that you're doing amazing work for? Like when I was growing up, I was trying to get into acting. So I went in the Oscars, I went in the BAFTAs, you know, certain people want, you know, the mobile awards and all this kind of rest of it. What is any different from me receiving an OBE in the sense of someone showing your accolades in the sense of you're a great actor, you're a great singer, you're a great person, you're doing great things within the community. So for me, I was just like, I understand where it's all coming from. And I ended up remember sitting down speaking to Benjamin before he passed away, God bless him. And he even let me know, he's like, I didn't take it. This is the reason why I'm not taking it. I explained to him on the reasons why I thought I was going to take it. And I said I wanted to use it, not for me to use it in the sense of, oh, the economy and this is what they've done to our people, but use it in a way where we can now start getting a much more accolades. So I keep saying to people, as much as I've got it, look at what I'm doing with it. I think people miss the point. So people look at me sometimes online and be like, oh, you keep saying Chris Preddie, OB6, but look at what I'm talking about online. I talk about the government. I talk about police brutality. I talk about, you know, people not standing up for right is right and wrong is wrong. So as much as you think I'm a part of something, as much as sometimes they look at me like, what are you doing, Chris? Like, you're just getting crazy online and all sort of kind of thing. But I'm like, I'm trying to use my voice for the right reasons. And that's the reasons why you gave it to me, because I was helping people. And that's going to be what I'll continue. So the worst thing about it is a bit of
doing a balance
chalk and cheese
as well, a balancing act where you're representing still from
100%.
the ground. And then you're also, it's almost like when we go into work and, you know, sometimes if we work for a really well-established organization or a company, then, and we're still representing a community, like our families, the, you know, ethnic background or who we are.
And we have to, but we have to be able to walk into them kind of spaces. So like I said to people all the time, like, I know where I come from. I know, like I said, when I was going to university, you know, the wild ones, the bad nose, that was a small world. I ended up stepping into the real world. So what I'm trying to say to my community, I'm still a part of that world. But for me to be able to get our point across, to be able to get our messages across, I have to go into the real world. And by me going into the real world, it steps into these kind of organizations and the way that you have to be looked at. You're going to take a doctor serious. You're going to take someone that's got a lord. You're going to take someone that's got all these kind of accolades very, very serious. You're not going to take Joe Blogs very, very serious if he's coming online saying, my name is Joe Blogs and I don't have the government. And everyone's like, who's this guy? But if I'm saying Chris Preddie OBE and the government needs to fix up, it's going to travel a lot more further than if I didn't have it. And I just try and say to people,
It's amazing.
I've got a difficult question for you.
Go on.
Are you ready?
Go on.
Has our community hurt you?
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly. And the worst thing about it, what's sad about it is I've been hurt in so many ways. I've been hurt within that. So when I received the OP, a lot of people set up a petition to get my OP revoked. So they was just like, we don't even want him to have it. What did I do? No criminal record, haven't done nothing, been positive and been supportive. But once again, due to my family, due to certain accolades, due to certain people that was going through certain kind of like times in the sense of things that's happening in the sense of the criminal world, people didn't like the fact that someone like myself coming from that family could be able to receive something. But I'm always like, you can only be judged and accountable for your actions. I can only be judged and accountable for the things that I do. I can't be judged for my mum. I can't be judged for my sister. I can't be judged for my dad or any other cousins or any other siblings that might have just be coming into my lineage in the sense of that's not my fault. Do you know what I mean? I didn't create these children. I didn't create these people. I just created myself, and trying to look at it in that kind of way. So yeah, the community hurt me a lot within that. And another time they hurt me in the sense of, like I said, last year when I really got ill with lupus. I came out, I tried to do a video to explain to people the hardship that I was going through, and the abuse that man received was just out of this world. You know, like, look at your skin, I bet you bleached anyway, you took the COVID jab, that's what you get. Like, it was like, when I mean DMs and comments was just going off the roof. And I just sat there and I thought, wow, for 10 years into helping community and helping the people, and this is the love that I get. So I shied away a little bit, and I was like, okay, I've got to do some self-love. I've got to make sure that as much as I'm selfless and I love helping, as much as I've got to be a little bit more selfish and focus much more, like you said, now, what is it that Chris needs? And then how do I get what I need? And then how do I be able to help the community? But before, I was like, how do I help the community? And I wasn't thinking about what Chris needs. So as long as the community, or as long as I was putting out the messages, as long as I was doing all these kind of things, I didn't really care to then realize that, you know, even through Black Lives Matter, I was saying to people in the sense of, I don't mind stepping up and being the face, but what I need is everyone to be behind me. I don't mind being at the front of the march, but I just want to know when I look behind me, there's people behind me. And what we tend to do is we're so good at pushing messages, but we're not good at consistently standing behind someone and saying, I'm going to follow this. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So when it gets to a stage of, oh, my job might be impaired, or I might not be able to pay my bill, or I might lose my benefits, I don't see people stepping behind me anymore. I'm like, okay, cool. One by one, I see people just deteriorating. So once again, we say that we want certain things, but how much of us are really able to step in and say, okay, this is what we need to do? We've got Ferotv right now. Why are we not supporting this? We've got so many accolades and so many people that do a fantastic thing. I say on my line all the time, I've got nearly 200 and something thousand followers. I keep saying to everyone, could you imagine if everybody just put £1 in the bucket? I'm not asking for £50 from you, no, 60. I'm not asking £1 a month. I'm asking everybody, mothers, to give £1 a month, and then we wouldn't have to worry about not having a community centre. Now let's think about it. Because we don't have community centres and we don't have staff for these community centres. If we all put a £1 in the bucket, we've got money now for that youth worker to be able to work with our young people. So they are safe.
It's fat.
But it's something that's so small, and I will put out a campaign and I'll put it out online and everything, and the first thing that will come back into our community, where's the money going, Chris? How comes you're asking us for money? Oh, I bet you're just trying to no one's looking at the bigger goal. But you wouldn't care by going to Gucci, you wouldn't care by going to, you know, cancer research and all the rest of it. People are putting £10, £15 a month for them to research something. I'm asking you to give me £1 so we can actually do something. There's a difference. And I feel like that's something that we always keep missing, and it frustrates me.
I've got so many questions, but I'm gonna, Min, if you got one, I'm gonna keep asking if you got one, because I've got
too many. It's just strange to hear you echo my sentiments, that how I've been feeling. And I think serving the community, being the therapist, the healer, being the person who represents men's mental health, women's mental health, talking about spiritual journeys, you know, helping people even for free. And then having these small services set up where I'm like, hey guys, you know, I've got fired because this is the spiritual attack, even though I've got my degree, I've done everything right, I've gone through the system, worked in the government, done everything. So why is it that I'm seeing a zero interest in maybe promoting my services, even though they're helping to heal communities? So when I create the spaces, only 3 people, and it will always be just women. But yet, if I was sexualizing myself
100%.
and saying that I'm doing OnlyFans, or I'm going to be selling this part of my body, there would be the utmost interest.
100%.
And that makes me very sad, because I already get that kind of response from people anyway, trying to tear down my character. So having your character torn down, as a woman from an ethnic background, I can tell you there's a lot of things I don't put on my social media to say behind the scenes. I'm having to deal with a lot of verbal abuse. A lot of people go on campaigns to create accounts and to almost shame me,
100%.
even though I'm fully covered
100%.
and I'm doing. I like to say I'm doing universal work. I'm doing God's work. I'm doing the people's work. I represent the people. So the whole thing about just giving to the community or giving to everybody freely from an open heart and abundant space, what happens is you attract takers.
Yeah.
And so having that reflection, that's what happened to me when my brother passed away. I had to have some reflection. And he said to me, just like how you said, would your brother want you to do this? I had to stand there and say to myself, my brother used to say to me, don't ever stop putting out the things you create as an artist and just as a musician, because those are the things that are not necessarily there to serve the community, but they're going to show the community who you are.
Yeah.
And so that really resonated with me, because I wouldn't have known how to articulate that until you just articulated it. And so sometimes your inner narrative can have you thinking you're the only one that thinks and feels like that,
100%.
especially talking to men. And so I'm very fortunate meeting someone like Femi, meeting yourself. We've got all these other masculines who are so divine. And as you should, in the time of separation and division and absolute poison, where men and women are warring, the new paradigm, or the true paradigm and the true reality shift, is in connect community and actually unifying with people who are doing the same.
100%. And I think that is something that you perfectly said, because there is a lot of women feeling challenged. There's a lot of women that are sitting there right now overly exploiting themselves because they feel like they have to. There's women out there right now that's like, do you know what? I put up a picture about, I'm a life coach, or I'll put up a picture about, I'm doing my baking, and put up a picture about something that's positive, and everyone's like, yeah, 15 likes, you know what's there? She put up one picture, she turned her little thing to the yeah? Everyone's liking it. But once again, it's so funny how you're getting the match for that, but then on the twister side of it, you've got the same community saying, how dare you? Look at that. Look what you're doing. You're exploiting yourself. Why don't people do something positive? Where's all the baking stuff? Where's all the great stuff? And it's like, but when we give you the positive stuff, you don't latch onto it. Ferotv, no one's there. BMTV. There's so many platforms.
Ready for trouble?
I'm ready for trouble.
Are you ready for trouble?
I'm ready for trouble. I've been here.
This part is now this is gonna destroy the whole internet. I'm gonna make a statement, and I want you to comment on the statement I'm gonna make. So, and men is gonna understand the statement. Yeah, women go into the studio and get abused by men, especially these female artists. They're abused by men. And I've realized that a lot of men can't come on social media and back up women because they are guilty, and the women they abuse are probably following them.
100%. 100%. And that's a fact. That is a fact. And I think a lot of men right now are doing these. Like I said, I've been seeing so much of this podcast world and all the rest of it. And to a point of it, I do love it. But there's been a heavily space now where there's too much men on some just violating women, like just doing these podcasts, I hate women, this and that. We're trying to do too much on that, he said, on that cycle, when you know that you're abusing yourself, you know that you're being narcissistic yourself. A lot of these shows that you're trying to bring on girls that haven't really got the accolade, or if not got the intelligence to be able to have discussions with you, but you're trying to have discussions, trying to put another woman down on something that she might be trying to do, whether she's trying to be creative, or she's got lots of trauma, or she's going through a time where she might be doing OnlyFans, or she might be doing something. But once again, as men, we sit there all the time and we want to go on like we're the protectors and healthy and provider, but once again, we are the ones that are committing the crimes.
It's sexual drive, the sexual urge, sexual everything. Why is the energy not being contained? Why do people have to be abusive?
100%.
Also, speaking as a musician since I was 7 and playing the piano and then getting into production, the reason why I got into producing was because of the way men were treating me. And I was a teenager. And so it felt very unsafe, but not to the extent where I was aware what the real agenda might have been.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I became a young adult, that's when I started being in studios, just the feeling of walking and thinking it's just me and the producer. Why are there 5 other men there?
100%.
So that was intimidating. And then they would gaslight you into asking questions in front of other people, normalizing, almost mimicking maybe the American culture. You know, the UK culture was very different, and we weren't allowed to really carve out our own identity. It was very much off the back of American music, which I grew up on. But they're scantily clad bikinis, Dr. Dre, Snoop. I'm not going to turn up like that. And so the first question would always be, and this is from serious radio stations, record labels, everything. How naked are you willing to get for the video? Number 2, are you willing to rebrand and do the music we want you to? So it's only now coming out that a lot of the female American stars, mostly they will go for the ethnic women. The songs aren't even written by women. They're written by white men. Or maybe even ethnic men. And so what I've noticed, and I've stayed quiet because I came out of the music industry between my 20s and my 30s. And then as I got older, a lot of men reminded me that, oh, but your time's gone now. So there's no value to you being a musician. What would you do? And it's not me saying they're incapable of understanding me, but the programming was so deep that I had to carve out my own niche and educate myself on producing and writing and then filming and doing everything myself without the help or the guidance of any music mentors. And then me trying to engage other women to say in the youth club where I built the studio, let me get the women, so the younger girls, so that they don't have to go through what I went through. But what happened was, because social media opened this whole portal of, you know, the young girls, they don't need to come into the studio. They can just do whatever they need to. They can wear whatever they want from the comfort of their home. That's not maybe how they are on the street, but within the comfort of maybe some privacy. And if they're coming from a background where the parents aren't really involved, if they're, say, Somalian and the parents has a education or a English barrier, they're more or less not being captured by the net of safety. Then you've got a lot of these 15-year-olds or 16-year-olds or even 13-year-olds being exploited, almost trafficked in the music industry in a way which was very disturbing for me. So put my experience aside, I'm talking about the technology that's out there now and what things are still happening. And you're seeing this reflected because, remember, music is a reflection of the times we're living in.
Yeah, 100%.
So therefore, the level of consciousness of lyrics and the way you see even one of the songs that has gone viral on TikTok is called Peggy.
Oh my goodness.
So without going too deep into that,
I don't.
Yeah,
Talk to me.
it's lost. It's done. It's done. And I think that's exactly what you're saying in the sense of, we are now got to an area where you can only accept what you allow. Yeah. And I think we've got to a stage now with what's going on, like you said, about men and certain things, because it's been so much in the sense of the way the society, we've heard about Hollywood, we heard about the music industry, we hear about all these kind of things, but we don't stand on our guns. And even up to some of us men, we've got to start holding some of these men accountable. We've got to start pulling some of this stuff up, and we've got to have women being allowed to be able to express themselves, because a lot of them, when they are speaking out and they have spoken out, they're not being heard. Yeah, they are being brutalized, they are being paid off, they are being told to shut their mouth or you're never going to have a career and all these kind of things. We're seeing it now with Diddy, we're seeing it now with R. Kelly, we're seeing it now. We know it's been happening, but we only accept what we allow. It's been to a point, check this one out, it's been happening since we've been in school. How much times have we seen man outside school, bruv? Yeah? 15-year-old girl, he's in his 20s. Man's pulling up in whips, girls jumping in, and we was like, it's normal. And even girls, to a point where my sister's age group, they used to always see it as in the sense of, oh, but guys are not as mature. So yeah, we did kind of go for the older men, but that's another grooming, manipulation mentality anyway within that sort.
That's why I decided to be independent, because I was in a group with a woman and I always felt like they were trying to violate her. So to create a safe space, I went independent. I knew that. I knew from 20 years ago, I have to literally carve out my own lane.
You have to.
I cannot walk in that lane.
No, you can't.
Thank you, Femi.
No, you can't. And that's what's so sad about it. And I think even to be highlighted on a lot of men, dog feet, that a lot of men ain't facing abuse. You know, that actor came out already. What was his name? Big actor. He was in White Chicks.
Yes.
Making my way downtown, watching stars.
Yes.
Not yet.
Yeah, what he went through.
You understand? So it's he's muscly as Molly. So everyone's coming at him. Everyone's like, yo, no, cause like you could have smacked. No, don't get it twisted. Just because of a man's size and a man's structure doesn't always mean that just because we have a certain. And once again, it's that male thing of males can't be abused or males can't be in a situation like that. It's like
Most of them
we have
been.
and you have been, and like I said, I've heard these rappers, I've heard actors been in positions which like women and then been told to do certain things, and if they don't do it, then you know.
I think it's self-love and confidence, you know. You have to be able to say no. Like when we were meant to get signed by Wu-Tang and they were trying to bully me, the guy was trying to bully, I had to tell him no. I say no.
Do you understand what I was trying to say? But I went through the same thing like I sent to you on the phone. I was meant to be signed to Bow Wow's label, you know, the ones there. They wanted me to become the next Bow Wow. They wanted me to do girls tracks. I was saying to them I'm a conscious rapper. They was like, no, mate, you know what's there, you're gonna be doing this. And I had to stand at the time. I said, no. Do you know what I mean? But a lot of people looking at me like, Chris, that was your golden ticket, that was your opportunity. Do you know what I mean? But like I said, I thought like, does someone try to say it? I thought like I was gonna lose myself because that's not who I am.
They lost themselves over a lot of the...
And I've heard a lot of artists, even Nelly's came out and said that he's not always wanted to be, he's wanted to be a little bit more conscious and he wanted to come out of other tracks, but his label hasn't allowed him to do that. Labels won't allow you to do that. So when you're seeing some of these kids and you're seeing some of these drill music and you're like, why they keep talking about killing? Why they keep talking about shooting? Go and talk to the label, because the labels are approving it. The labels are the one, like, it's the same thing when we see certain things and we see little scandals, when we see like Balenciaga and all these kind of people doing monkey scandals, and we're like, why did that even get aired? How did that get through? But once again, someone signed it off. So don't always look at the actual individual, look at the corporation, look at the people behind it, look at the people that are pushing it, the media, you know what's there, the newspapers, all the rest of it. That's the reasons why having this channel, Ferotv, is so important now in 2025 than it's ever been. It was just the other day that TikTok got shut down. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So you can build a platform, have 1 million followers, bruv, and then tomorrow it can be shut down because you don't own it. We don't have no ownership. I had to big up Correct and Conan for just opening up the supermarket.
Yeah.
You know how much people was in my comments talking about, what? They're giving everybody some processed food, rare, it's not really helping the community. It's like, that same ignorance is the same reasons on why we don't win. Just what I'm trying to say is just like, before we sit there and say, how do we have ownership? How do we actually get to the same things of having a similar products that we do go and buy? You're moaning already about 2 young black boys that are trying to do something constructive within their community. And the first thing you say is, I don't like the produce that they're selling. But I definitely know that you're going Tesco's. Definitely know you're going Morrison's. I definitely know you're going Waitrose, big man. It's like, how dare you try and get onto them, man? And you're going to get the same produce fruit that you're talking about. So help me make it make sense. How do we grow if you, as a consumer, if we're trying to give it to you, you're the one that's still complaining about it? That's what I'm trying to say. And that's where we're at. It's like we can't own nothing. And then when we do own something, we're always complaining.
It's the judgment that stops you from making change. And the problem is that with the patriarchy and the systems set up by your own oppressors, because a lot of, I'm not going to say just men, I'm going to say a certain level of consciousness that's been programmed, it benefits because they don't have to think for themselves. So anyone that's thinking for themselves is not only courageous, but every move they make is under the microscope, but no one is holding any other brand or any other normal everyday use. So again, it is down to, like you said, if I'm looking behind me, is there anyone standing behind me? You know, and sometimes you have to be okay, which I know we all are separately, okay with walking this alone, because I know along the way I'm going to meet my people.
Of course.
And they are going to be 1 million army strong
100%.
just on their level of consciousness. So really, do I even need 1 million people on my Instagram just be watching and being a monitoring spirit, not even double tapping anything, not even liking anything?
This is why we say that there's a blockage, because the power of the mind is real. So I don't even fault half of our community anymore to that degree, because the power control is real. They've got so controlled into what they believe, they can't see nothing different. So they can't come to me and be like, you know what, Chris, You're doing a great thing. I can see you're doing something similar. You've got a brand. I'm going to support your brand. You're still going to go to JD. You're still going to go to Gucci. And guess what? You know what's there? You don't ask Gucci for a discount. You don't ask Gucci, where's your money going? You don't ask Gucci, how much of this money are you putting back into your community? But you want to ask me these questions. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And that's where we've gone wrong in the sense of, I've met so many of us that we've got, like I said, great products, great stuff going on. And it's a similar product that you would actually go and get from someone else. But because it's been reputable in your eyes in the sense of, if it's a record label, if you're an artist, you'd rather be signed to Sony than to be signed to Jimmy down the road. Just what I'm trying to say within that sense. But there's still the same understanding. It's still a record label. You still have a manager. You still have A&Rs. You still have people that are going to push you in the right direction. One is just a realist and one's not. One's giving you all the hype of, I've got your back. Like I said to all these artists, how much times have you sat down there and you've looked around you and you have no longer your friends? You've got your makeup person, you've got your manager, you've got your security guard, you've got all these kind of people, and they're like, great show, Chris, great show, well done, well done. But every single person's getting paid here. Everybody. Of course you're going to tell me great job. You know what's there, manager, because you're getting 20%. Of course my makeup designer's going to be like, hey, Fizz, you was looking glowy. Of course I was looking glowy because you're getting paid. My fashion designer's like, wow, Chris, I've got a new jumper for you. Of course you do, bruv. You get me? Because you're taking 2-3 grand out of my budget to find these bits and pieces. So everyone's being paid. So once again, I only respect and rate sometimes now, even Kevin Hart, I love his little clique because he's around people that is his friend, that are supporting him, that are there from the beginning, you know?
I've got another question for you. We've had lots of conversations. You're always talking about your missus.
Yes.
So I want you to break down when you found out about lupus, what happened, and how she supported you, because it seems like, I know she had your back, and people never see the woman behind the man.
No, they don't.
It's not here.
And that's what's important, that the fact that when we talk about some of our stories, and I think women and men, sometimes we talk about it on a one-person basis of, this is what I've gone through, regardless whether it's been an ex, partner, whatever. We always sit there and be like, I've gone through my trials and tribulations, I've changed my life, and we're not actually giving that person the credit
Behind you.
that they deserve. So, do you understand what I'm trying to say? So for me, it's got to a stage now with, especially with my missus, it got to a stage where I got diagnosed with lupus around about, I would say, 10 years ago. But when I got diagnosed 10 years ago, I didn't get diagnosed to what it is now. I got diagnosed of, it started off from alopecia, a bit of my hair fell out. So there's like, oh, you got alopecia. Rare. So I was thinking, okay, that's not a problem. And about a year later, I woke up one morning, I just had bare patches in my head. You know what's there? To a point, I was looking around on my bed to see where the hair was. You know what's there? I swear down the hair fairly got it. You know what's there? Because I was like, if hair come out, where is it, fam? Because I was thinking, wait, let me just try and, I might stick a couple of patches back in. And that's when I realized, wow, I might have something here. So I went to the doctors, they said, you've got lupus, but they said, you've only got it from the neck up. It doesn't affect your organs, it doesn't affect your body, it doesn't affect you. So I'm like, okay. So I've plodded along my life for the next, I would say 7 years. Everything's just kind of been like that, up and down. I've had a few flare-ups, had a few little marks on my face and my eyes. It was only till 2 years ago. And I just literally it took a turn for the worse until a point I started dealing it internally. So it started affecting my lungs. I got a blood clot in my heart and all the rest of it. And it just started to really deteriorate for me from inside. And going through that whole process then, like I said, what I love about my missus, even though she already knew about it, she already done all of her research before we even got together properly, before we even said we're together. Like, she is a G. She's someone that was like, if I'm going to be with this person, I want to understand what lupus is. I want to understand. So she knew everything before it even happened because she done so much of her research. So when it actually happened and I actually got ill, and the times when, you know, me as a man, I'm a protector, I'm a provider, I didn't even want to show her that I was in pain. So half of the time, I'm just playing it off to her. Yeah, man's cool. This time, man's not cool. I'm in a bad way. I'm in some serious pain. I'm in a bad way, but I don't want to show her as the protector of the carer, the man of this house, to be showing you that I can't step up and be able to protect and provide for you. So it got to a stage where it was too bad. And she's like, you need to go to the hospital. And I went to the hospital. And then that's when I found out blood clot. That's when I found out the lupus is getting worse. It's spreading all over my body and all the rest of it. And I just remember laying in that bed and I just had that one little tear in my eye. And I just said to her, you're going to have to take the leak. You're going to have to hold up everything right now, because I physically and mentally, I'm done. I can't do nothing. and I worked for myself at the time. So it's like, by me not working, no money's coming through that door. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? She's got my newborn son. She's not working as much as because she's self-employed. She's a life coach. So I'm just like, right now, my back was against the wall, and she took care of everything. She took care of my son, the house, the bills, myself. There's plenty of times she was trying to come up and bring microwaves to the hospital. I'm like, girl, if you bring a microwave with my 1.5-year-old son, just trying to make sure I get my food, I said, man, you're gonna have a problem. But that's how dedicated, that's how much.
These are stories that don't get told.
Do you understand? That don't get told. This is behind the scenes. This is her doing her research. This is her getting Moringa. This is her getting me Raw Britannia. This is her, yeah, just taking it all the way back to the basics. And what I've run through that.
I didn't know it's I didn't look, but
Right, you understand? As a real, but and overall, the biggest thing that she played a part in as well, bruv, is when I had to change my diet. She didn't just say, I'm gonna help you change your diet. She said, I'm gonna change the diet with you, because I know how hard things can be. So what I mean, so if you'll have to drop out meat, then I'm gonna drop out meat. If you're having to have this, then I'm gonna have this too. Even though I don't feel like, it's not necessarily feel like I need to do this, but that is the biggest thing that anyone can do, because the most hardest thing to do is to do something every single day that you normally do, whether it's go to the corner shop, you have your cup of teas in the morning, whatever, to now someone tell you that you have to change your whole diet, but then watch everybody else around you eating and doing the same thing. So every single time, man.
I got one more question for you, so I'm gonna pass it on to. If you got something, I only got one more question for him.
No.
I'm done, bro. Thank you. I'm gonna leave it to you. I got one for you.
Okay. Have you got another question?
He got one more, he said.
Got one more. Okay. So
You know it already, you know it's there. Oh, no, yeah, in it, bro, in it.
Speak up to your business, man.
All the time.
Ignore me. I'm just having a bottle. Hold up. You speak up to your business.
I know every time I pick up a message, every time.
wow, that's incredible.
That's what
it's it kind of the wholeness and the completion of everything, even though it's an ongoing process.
100%.
Where are you now with the lupus, and also in terms of what you see yourself as your message and how you want to go forward?
I love that. Where I'm at now is no more medication. Everything's natural, natural herbs, natural intake. What I'm doing, and the biggest thing that's been for me is fasting. Oh my God, like guys, if you don't realize how important just the fasting is, because everything comes down to your digestive system anyway. So I fast a lot. So 3 times throughout the week, I'll be fasting. I also have a lot of water diets now, taking it easier in the sense of my smoothies, but just even with that small little process of small little things that I've just taken out has allowed me to be able to be much more healthier, much more better. Like I said, no medication, no going back to the doctor, to a point the doctors are now even saying to me like, oh, okay, cool, like the tablets are working. I'm like, no, they're not working. I'm not even taking them. But they're looking at me like, oh, your blood's this and this is great and this is great. And that's only because I'm taking back my own life, becoming my own doctor, the things that we already know. So it's like, don't keep listening to everybody else when you're the only one that knows your body. They don't know your body. They don't know what you're feeling. They don't know what you're going through. You do. So it's up to us. As my biggest thing is doing something is better than nothing. So when I get up in the morning, I started off with 1 push-up and I used to kill myself on the bed. Is that it? Only 1. Next day 2, next day 3. And I think we start doing things and we do things in reverse. We always look at things like 30-day challenge. Like if you don't do the 30-day, you're like, oh, I feel like a failure and everything. If you do a 30-day challenge and you do 21 days, you smashed it.
Yeah.
Next time we're going for 22. Do you remember that? And stop looking at it like you didn't win. Look how much days that you did do. Just what I'm trying to say. And if it's out of the 30, you've probably done more out of the 30 than you actually did. So that's always been my process. Doing something is better than nothing. And now trying to create a healthy space with the MIMS movement that I've got going on, make it make sense in the sense of just trying to get young men and men in general to check in. We don't check in enough. I think that's so important of what I've realized by putting my post out, letting people know about my lupus, letting people know about what I'm going through behind closed doors. So many men have come and messaged me now. So many rappers, so many artists have come out the door and be like, you know what, I suffer with psoriasis, I suffer with this, I suffer with that. One of my friends came out and told me like, I think I got a lump down there, like so all these kind of things where We all be suffering in silence, and we're all going like we're all good, and was not good. So I want to try and keep providing that space, and we want to sit down and talk to you as well. This is something that I had in place in the sense of having a service. I don't know whether it's weekly, I don't know whether it's monthly, but having a weekly or monthly service where it's online, that man just can come and chat to me. Let's come and chat, we reason, we'll sit down, get it off your chest, and we're just going to call it the check-in. Do you know what I mean? Wherever it is, where we do it like a discussion around the table, but it'd be nice for men to know that they have a space like women to be able to come in and check in and not be judged, not be looked at as an, oh, man's looking kind of weak, man's crying over his baby mother, and man's crying because he can't see his kids. We need to talk about this. There's young men, there's people out there right now that are suffering, going through trauma because they don't see their kids, going through trauma because they don't feel like their relationship's working, going through trauma because they don't feel like they're able to speak to their friends, because majority of times, man, then we're going to laugh at certain situations because they perceive that they might get laughed at. So that's really, really important to me. And just through now, where I am now, I'm in so much of a good space in the sense of my health, and just wanted to make sure that I do a lot more for myself. So self-love first, and then selfish afterwards. Selfless, should I say selfless afterwards?
I love that.
My last question for you.
Is when you're 70 and you look back on this podcast, so this is you looking into the future, what do you want to tell yourself now for when you're 70?
Powerful. I would tell myself that no matter how much you wanted to do, it was already going to be done. The only thing I would say to you was, did we enjoy the journey? So as long as we're enjoying the journey, everything will be done. And I think sometimes we forget that, you know? You know, no one's there, but yeah, enjoy the journey, because yeah, by the time I'm 70, it's like, oh, did I get here? Did I get here? It's like, did you actually enjoy the bath? You know what I mean?
I am done. We're officially
Out, over. Until next time. But hey, this is not going to be the last time. It's not going to be the last time. Like they said, news desk, news channel. Shout out to Mims. We're going to be doing some much more collaborating. So watch this space. And also got a kiddies program. Where's Chris? It's coming for them as well. We've got stuff coming.
Don't worry, that I went out there right after this. Where's Chris?
That's it.